Surf today. Get up and brush off the dew on that. Surf today. Surf today. Surf today. Cut it and roll that dew on that. Surf today. Surf today. Surf today. Set up, they about to come through on that. Surf today. Surf today. Surf today. Get up. Surf today. Get up. Surf today. Let's get out the way. Here comes first play. Let's maintain that surf today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Turf Today, recorded on the Superintendent Network and brought to you by Toro. My name is Adam Kershane, joined by Brian Lorenz, and today we got another good one for you. We are going back down to Florida to talk to Tanner Coffman, who is the head greenskeeper at the TGL. We talked to Tanner originally last year, but a lot has changed, and we've had a lot of people reaching out asking if we can get him back on. So we'll jump into things with Tanner right after we chat with Brian. What's going on, buddy?
Great to see you again. Feeling jacked, ready to roll.
Right on, right on. Are you getting
Excited to
excited?
talk to Tanner.
Yeah. Are you getting excited to go down to Florida?
I am. It's hard to believe it's just around the corner. I mean, it's only a couple weeks away. So a lot to get done between now and then. But yeah, it'll be nice to get down there and see everybody.
Yeah, it seems like Orlando's a busy one every time we go down. To a lot of people going down, a lot of people visiting from different areas, and yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on that week, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And it sounds like you're driving too, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to end up driving. So going to have to take a lot of different items with me down there to man a booth, and obviously have to take golf clubs and all that kind of stuff. So it might just be easier to drive down versus shipping it. So it's looking like that's going to be what happens.
It saves you a couple bucks too. It's a little bit easier on the wallet, right?
Maybe.
Depends how you look at it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's worth spending the money so you don't have to deal with the headache. But, 14 hours in a car will give me a lot of time to think and plan and whatever else. So,
yeah, a lot of murder mystery podcasts.
Yeah, I think I've been through every single one of them. So I'm kind of struggling right now to find something else to listen to.
Need a new show.
Yeah, I gotta find something.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to just getting out of this weather, getting down there.
Yeah.
So many different people we get to connect with, which is going to be huge. And we've struggled the past couple of years of, trying to be in one place to be able to see everybody. And I know this year we're planning on being, at the Toro booth as much as we possibly can. So it'll give us a solid spot for people to come and see us. And I've heard of a few fun things happening in their booth and in other booths coming up. So, keep those notifications on going into showtime, because Turf Today is going to be popular on Instagram. We're going to have a lot of different posts going out. We're turning into a bit of a giveaway group. We do a lot of giveaways, and I think that's something fun for the industry, right? To get different things in people's hands. So I've heard of 3 different giveaways that are going on already, and there might be a couple more in the works. So, and that's just from what we know of. There's always so many different things going on the trade show floor. Like, you can leave there with a bag full of stuff.
Yeah, there's how many hundreds of booths out there, and about every single one of them does something. So yeah absolutely. There's going to be a lot going on.
Yeah, pack light. Every year I pack full, and I'm at the end. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to put everything?
Yeah, exactly.
So pack light. Tanner, what's up, big guy? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me now?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
There he is.
Perfect.
What's going on, big guy?
Dude, it's TGL. Like, you guys are known for technology. You haven't figured out the Zoom thing yet, Tanner?
I'm a Teams guy. I don't know.
Oh, fair enough.
I left Zoom back in the dust with COVID.
Oh, man. Well, you're a lot younger than me. So, Zoom, I find one I'd stick with, and I tried and true, man.
Yeah.
I was that guy too with this company doing Teams and Slack and stuff. I was the last person on board. I'm just like, nah, I'm not doing this. This is dumb. And now I'm like, this is all I know. Sorry.
Looks like you got is that a new background this year? Looks like you give it a little fresh paint job or what?
This is actually the wife's office.
Oh, okay.
Believe it or not, I just got home from work. So I'm borrowing
Jeez.
her office for a little bit.
Nice, nice. It looks you got a little haircut too. The last few pictures I saw of you, you had the long locks going.
I got a little bit of the long locks. I just kept it on top, but
Oh,
Oh,
that a
man.
boy.
Hiding it.
I was going for the mullet look for a little while.
Yeah, it's popular right now, the hockey hair.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's new in your world, man? Season two's upon you, and what's cooking out in Florida?
Man, season two, I feel like it seemed forever away, and then all of a sudden we're 3 matches deep. Um, so that was quite a journey getting that season two started. Obviously, we got a lot more season coming up, and I don't know if you guys saw the news from a couple days ago. We're bringing the women's league into it now.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
2026 is going to be a big year for Tomorrow Sports and TGL.
That means you have to
That's
double
awesome.
up the amount of plots of grass you have.
Double up on a lot of things,
A
yeah.
lot of things. Yeah.
A lot of energy drinks.
Well, we talked
That's
to you
awesome.
kind of at the beginning of last year where you were, a few matches in and things were all just kind of being tested and everything. So take us through kind of the year and some of the successes and some of the things you guys figured out. And yeah, just take us kind of through everything that happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly when the last time I spoke with you guys. I think it was like beginning of February, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah, it was
just a
pretty
couple
early
weeks
on.
into it. I listened to the podcast right when it came out and haven't listened to it since, but all I can remember is I probably came into the conversation with a big boat of confidence, like, we've been testing stuff for 2 years. We've got it figured out. This grass is easy. The season was pretty rough, pretty difficult.
Wow. It
Uh,
doesn't look like that on the outside, though. It looked
yeah,
like it was a
hopefully never
massive.
saw that on the outside.
No.
Just a lot of learning, both on the agronomic side and then on the technology side. A lot of us being, TGL, the company, the competition team, listening to fans, listening to the players, getting their feedback and things that we had tested for 2 years solid, thinking that we nailed it on the head. Maybe not. So being able to make quick changes for those of y'all that don't know the TGL gameplay, something we changed mid-season was the use of the hammer. It was a back and forth. Once you threw the hammer, that means the other team got the hammer, and then you couldn't throw it until they threw it back at you. So we changed that rule to be, every team has 3 hammers, so they can throw it whenever they want to. And there's rules that were cut back, and I think that made the matches a lot more interesting. Those first couple matches were blowouts. I think they were like 11-1, 10-1, and so they kind of got old after a couple holes of someone getting their butts whooped. Um, Tiger. But
You're buddies with
but
him now, eh? So you can take those shots.
yeah. I'm a little more confident with that.
Yeah. Sun's barely up, dew still on the fairways, and the crew's already rolling. This is where mornings matter, and Toro delivers. From stripes that pop to cuts that stay true, Toro mowers bring power, precision, and reliability, day after day, and just like us, season after season. Less downtime, cleaner cuts, more time to make the course look elite. Because on a golf course, every pass counts, and when it's time to mow like a pro, you mow Toro. Toro, always solving, always evolving.
But yeah, I mean, lots of learning. With this being a turf podcast from the agronomic side, for me, I feel like I'm the only person in the world that's got this system that I'm doing. And when you really think about it, I've got a 3-inch root zone, and this 3-inch root zone is suspended in the air, 10 inches. So all of the agronomic things that you've been taught in school and learning and root development and leaching and pesticides, you just got to throw that book out the window. And so that's kind of what I learned last season was some of the stuff that I've been doing for years, some of the products that I've loved for years, maybe not working in this specific situation. Just because, that 3-inch root zone, I leached very quickly. With it being suspended, that root zone temperature basically matches ambient temperature, which in Florida, not that bad. However, the past couple of weeks, we've had a day or two that we would drop down into the 30s overnight, and my soil temperature is at 40. And then, 2 days later, it's back in the 60s and 70s with the temperature in the 70, 75 degrees in the root zone. So, uh, stress management, all that kind of stuff. It just throws a brick into everything you thought you've ever known about turf.
That sounds fun. So give me your biggest pinch me moment from season one.
Biggest pinch me moment. It was kind of a personal moment, but also really cool to see online. We had on, I think it was President's Day, we had a triple header, and it was something that I had kind of been scared of the entire season of like, all right, all these one-off matches are a lot of work. It's, 15, 16, 18-hour days. How am I going to do 3 matches in one day? And then the broadcast team comes in and is like, hey, just so you know, in between the games, we had an hour and we're still live on the air. So we're going to try to be doing fillers. We're going to be doing interviews. We're going to be doing all this kind of stuff. Um, and so I had just gotten married on Valentine's Day, which was the Friday before this Monday. Our immediate families knew, but our extended families didn't know. The friend groups didn't really know unless they were really close to us. We kind of kept it very low key, cool courthouse kind of thing. Go to the beach later, and so there's a famous interview of Marty Smith riding the turf trolley into the building. And then as we put him into the turf tray tee box area, he congratulates me on my marriage, and congratulates me on my wedding to all of the people watching ESPN. So it was live on ESPN. And I don't know who told Marty Smith that I got married. It had to have been one of our close
And Marty
people on
just digs that
technology.
kind of stuff up. He's pretty good.
Yeah. And so like you can see on my face a little bit in the video, I'm like, oh, thank you. And at that exact moment, my wife was in the air flying from Florida to Charlotte. So she lands and she's probably got 50 text messages from people like, do you have something to tell me?
Yeah.
iPhone's blowing up. It's like, did you get married? I'm like, "Ah, Marty, thanks, man.
That's awesome.
So
Too cool,
that
man.
was
I
a
love
fun
that.
day. Everybody was like, "Oh, Marty Smith doing an interview riding the trolley in the air was really cool." I was like, "Yeah." And then he announced my wedding.
To
Yeah, thanks for
everybody.
spilling the beans, buddy.
Yeah, but hey, what a way to find out,
Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
get a
that's
few
cool.
extra wedding presents out of that deal then? Did you just all of a sudden get a bunch
Maybe.
of stuff showing up at the door?
Yeah, it's like how many people can say they got their marriage announced on live ESPN television as a groundskeeper?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. So what about the other side of things? As superintendents or people running the golf course, there's always days that kind of don't go our way. Was there ever one where you were like, oh, I don't know how we're gonna get through this?
I mean, there were numerous days like that, and it kind of goes back to all those learning moments of trying to work with this 3-inch root zone. I had a huge Pythium outbreak probably 2 days before the first match, season one, and so that was a fun thing to try to work through a little bit of turf colorant and things like that to make it look good on TV. Um, as you've probably seen, bunker shots pretty much all year season one. These players were just leaving it in the bunker. I mean, they'd swing it. You'd see buckets worth of sand flying out of the bunkers, and the ball would just go 2 feet. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, this is some top quality sand. I'm watering it before the match. So we've kind of fixed that with a better watering schedule, tripling the amount of water. This thing's basically a pond up until match time where it finally seeps through
Wow.
and it becomes playable. And so this year, the players have actually given us good feedback on, well, thanks for fixing the bunkers. I'm like, yeah, I basically just flood them. And then even then, we had one left in the bunker. I think the first match. I'm like, cool, thanks, guys. But that was a player thing. That wasn't the sand. That wasn't a sand issue. I don't take credit for that one. I mean, I could probably go through a bunch of them. I think the most recent one, season two, I won't go into details, but we had a rough night last week with one of our groundskeepers that are match day groundskeepers having a pretty serious injury. And it's just kind of some of those reminders, always be looking out for your guys, always be looking out for what could go wrong, because if something could go wrong, it's probably going to one day.
Hmm.
So that's been a real focus for me this past week of, looking at our operation now that we've kind of gotten the groove and the swing of things, what can we tweak and change to make sure, we're all being safe with it and fans that are close by are being safe with it. So, like I said, I won't go into too much detail on that one, but always got to have those reminders of, look out for your guys and they'll look out for you.
Well, you've got it's a whole different level for you because you got cranes moving all over the place and skid steers moving around, and you've got all sorts of stuff going on. So, I mean, that's a lot to think about. So from season one to season two, from your operations standpoint, what's been the biggest change?
From the operations standpoint, not too much, honestly. The venue itself has had a whole lot of change. I'm sure you've seen online. Our green size has been almost doubled. Well, let me rephrase that. The green size itself is about 38% larger, but the playable areas of the green is about doubled. We've taken the slopes and cut those by at least 40%, which make them a lot more playable. We went from having 7 available pin locations to this year we've got 12. Flattening out that green, smoothing it out a little bit, definitely helps with playability.
Well, I've seen a lot more shots hold the first couple matches for sure.
Bunch of chip ins and stuff. Yeah,
they're definitely. I don't want to say we made it easier, but we made it more relatable to what they're used to on natural grass surfaces. So one of those big changes were on that turntable that spins, all of the grass is now facing the green. So there's not any chips that are going against the grain. We kind of weighed the pros and cons of that one. And I did a couple test trials, showing the broadcast team and the VP of competition, like, hey, like just like natural grass, getting different colors with different directions of mowing and stuff. If we're facing the artificial turf all towards the green, you're gonna see a lot of the seams. You're gonna see color changes based off of your viewpoint going around, kind of looking like a pinwheel. But the benefit is easier shots, better shots, more predictable shots for the player. And so it's just overall a much better green. And so we went with playability over aesthetics this season. And I think it's like you said, Brian, we had 3 or 4 chip ins last match.
Yeah.
And they were all like pretty good shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the players definitely appreciate that from us.
Well, I love those shots because they always get it from the flag camera, and I know that might be tough to do outside. But why aren't we putting cameras on the flags? Like you can get it on a gimbal or something.
It's coming.
Yeah, that's such a cool angle from guys putting, not putting, but chipping or being off the green, or even if there's a conversation going on or something, you can catch that with that camera. I think that's a cool one that you guys did. I know a lot of people have been writing in. They want to know what the actual name ended up being for the crane system, because that was a big one last time we talked about it. So,
oh man, I wish I could have a better answer for you.
Yeah.
I kind of figured this was going to be, a thing. Even when we were having the conversation, the company just calls it the turf trolley.
The trolley. Yeah.
Oh,
Turf trolley.
Man.
After we spoke, I kind of threw out a couple names. The grasshopper was a good one
That is a good one.
I wanted to go with the grasshopper, and then I wanted to go with almost like the Grove 23, if you've seen that logo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to kind of go with something that looks like that logo, but it's a grasshopper, and spray that onto the turf trays. I think someone said the fairway highway
Oh, that's a good one too.
last time, but
Dude,
yeah,
Grasshopper, you sold me on it.
That's
Like,
good.
I mean, the merch sales for that alone
Oh
would be
yeah.
insane. I mean, let's
yeah,
be honest, like every reputable facility has a secondary logo and some sort of nickname. So you can trademark this, you can do all that stuff. It's
yeah. Maybe I do it
you got
anyway.
it.
It's
Just do it
You
saying,
got it.
anyways. Yeah. Start
yeah,
spray
the
100%.
painting that logo
company,
everywhere. Start selling
yeah, the
hats. Who
company
cares?
can call it turf trolley, and I'll just say, oh, the grasshopper.
Yeah. Turf trolley.
I
What's
would
that?
I would order all sorts of swag from that. If you do that grasshopper logo like Grove 23, like that's going to be almost my entire wardrobe. That thing would be sick.
That would be cool.
All right, I know what I'm doing this spring then.
There you go. There you
I'm
go.
making some stencils for the next match.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That is awesome. It's better than like Craney McCrane face. That's like always the go-to when they do those naming contests for different things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I know
yeah.
last time we talked about it, maybe it was you, Tanner, called it the dragon, and they said like you could have fire and smoke every time one comes out, and like have the audio and everything. It's like, oh, back up, the
Yeah,
dragon's coming
no,
through.
I think the Dragon actually came from a broadcast team.
Oh, okay, maybe.
The broadcast team, they've got different nicknames for different cameras and stuff like that, and they just started calling it the Dragon. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. But okay, the dragon's flying.
So
Oh,
from the turf side of things, Tanner, I mean, what kind of feedback were you getting from players, from the boxes of turf and how much consideration did you take from those comments and what kind of changes, if any, did you make for the playability there?
Yeah, so that was actually an interesting kind of movement throughout the season. Having a golf course background and then going into professional sports, you always look at the surface as being something that can accept either a ball or a player safely the way that you expect it to. Um, our artificial surface is one thing, but when you get into like the tee box, I was trying to hit these numbers and these metrics that I would typically see on a golf course. And then it started hitting me. I'm like, these guys aren't landing balls from 300 yards out. They're not hitting the fairway and wanting it to roll an extra 20 yards. They're only hitting off of it. So what kind of metrics actually make sense for hitting a ball off of the tee versus the ball landing and rolling and playing off of a natural grass surface? And some of the more interesting conversations I had weren't really with the players, but one notable one was Rob McNamara with Tiger Woods. Um, he was like, you don't even have to have fairway cut height. I kept trying to go shorter and shorter and harder and, firm, like what you would want on a nice, good fairway. He's like, that's not even necessary here. Like it can be softer, it can be thatchier. As long as that ball is sitting on top like it normally would with a shorter cut grass, you're fine. Um, so that kind of hit me a little bit different because I'm like, well, I'm striving for the best of the best. It's like, well, no one's going to know if this turf can accept a ball from 300 yards because nobody cares.
hmm
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
As long as the screen can handle it, it's fine.
yeah. And so, kind of, as you can see, as the season went on, I stopped worrying about, making it firm and hard. It got a little bit softer. Divots became a little bit more prominent on the surface itself. And the players started reacting to it in a positive way of like, oh, this is good because I'm getting the shot that I want, even though it may be a little bit different from a typical fairway shot on a traditional golf course. It's what they're expecting. So I don't know if some of these high level golf courses are treating their driving ranges any different from a typical tee box or fairway, but the players kind of look into that and see that. So that was kind of a big change that we kind of shifted throughout the season of, me putting my pride aside of having the best fairway style tee boxes and just be like, give them something that the players want to hit off of. And I think that gave us better golf in the long run.
Good thing you worked that one out. One of the things I never really thought about, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't think about, is that you have matches here, but you also have practice here. And we saw you posted a picture the other day, I think it was on X, of what those trays look like after a practice. Wow,
Mhm.
absolutely beat up. So that means that there's a lot more going on than just your Tuesday matches. So talk to us a
Oh,
little bit
yeah.
about the weekly schedule of what you actually have to do to take care of everything.
Yeah, one of the big benefits and the reason why we're here in Palm Beach Gardens is 80% of our players live within 7 or 8 miles of this place. So they're all in Jupiter, they're in Stewart, they're in West Palm Beach, they're in Palm Beach Gardens. Um, so when these guys aren't out on tour like they are right now, they could drop in at any time they want. So obviously we ask them to give us a little bit of a heads up. And they do, but I think last week I had probably 3 days that I either had a professional coming in or a pinch hitter that this is their first time experiencing, like they may potentially play later in the season, but they want to get used to the screen and the green, so they want to come in and test it out. So that's definitely something we do. Usually it looks, 2 days out, you get two or three guys that want to come in. And then the day before, you pretty much have everybody that's playing on that match night comes in at a different time. Some of the teams are really good at getting the players in all at once, which I like. But they walk through pretty much the whole match together. Talk hammer strategy, talk ball placement strategy. Like if this guy is hitting off the tee, where would you rather hit your second shot so we know where to place you for your second shot? But yeah, I'll probably go through 4 trays of grass just with practices alone before we get to the match. And then, on a match day, they have their morning team practice. And then a couple hours go by, and then they have their actual warm up before the match. And then we have the match. And so some of these turf trays, it's just full rotation.
So dive a little deeper into the trays. What are you doing to heal them? Is it a heal process or does it just start over?
Uh, so far this season, it's been a start over
Yeah.
process. I've got probably 2,000 square feet of grass just sitting on the ground. It's sitting on concrete that I'm keeping nice, striped up, as healthy as I can. So when we do beat up a tray, like what I posted on my Twitter
Hmm.
or X, sorry,
Nobody's
yeah,
comfortable with it yet.
yeah, that would take weeks to get that to recover, which we could do, but
Hmm.
I need that physical tray before I need that grass. And
Right.
so lately it's been, okay, I don't have enough trays to get through. So I'm just going to peel this grass out. The difficult part is trying to get sod in there without seams. So
Yeah.
if I need to use it the next day, it looks like that sod's been in that tray for weeks already. So, I bring these big roll sod in, put it on the ground, and then I try to cut out these 9 by 9 squares directly off the concrete, roll that up and put it onto the tray, which that's a whole day process, just
No
trying to move
kidding.
a 9 by 9, 3-inch sod grown on plastic. But there's no seams when we do it that way.
Right.
So yeah, sometimes when they really beat it up, it's just a full replacement. Some guys are real good at just taking a divot or two, and it's like, okay, well, I can sprinkle some divot mix in, and we can use it for another player or another warm up session. Um, every once in a while, I'll throw a hex plug in to kind of speed up that recovery. But yeah, especially this time of year with the back-to-back games we've had lately, it's just been replacing.
Remind us what are the varieties you have in the trays?
So both the rough and the fairway are Tahoma 31 that's
Okay.
overseeded with. Looked into some other options this past summer and decided to just kind of stick with what we knew. Um, may not be a permanent thing, but for now,
Yeah.
Tahoma 31.
I know the last time we talked, we got into depth of a lot of the research you did into the sand that you use for the bunkers. But how much, I don't know if we talked about last time, how much went into the research of figuring out your soil mix for the trays and trying to, you mentioned your high perk rates and all that kind of stuff. I mean, how much went into that and what did that ultimately fall in?
So we're getting the sod out of North Carolina. So it's Carolina green, known for their game on grass. It's the real thick cut sod that's grown on plastic. So this Tahoma starts in a kind of like a sandy loam, somewhat clayish field in South Carolina, gets cut with very, very thin, and then put onto this plastic and then just top dressed with USGA thick sand over and over and over and over. So it's a mostly a sand base. Um, so we don't really change any of that just because that's what it's coming from the sod farm. And that doesn't go into a root zone mixture. So that sod that we get from Carolina Green goes directly onto a perforated aluminum plate. That's how that's kind of sitting up 10 inches above the ground, suspended in that tray. So when people look at those trays, those trays are 12 inches deep. It's only a 3-inch thick cut sod sitting on top. The rest of it's just empty.
Very
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I was thinking there would be some soil, some sort of like root zone mix or something underneath that to help lock it in place or something. But
yeah,
interesting.
hindsight, that would probably make the agronomy side a little bit easier. But the benefits of keeping it as that 3-inch sod on plastic is I can have sod in a tray for weeks, and then when
Yeah,
I'm ready to swap it out, I can just roll it up like it's a piece of sod, bring in another piece, roll it out, and the height matches the other piece that's in there, or the height matches the rest of the trays. I'm not trying to cut anything out.
yeah,
Uh, Weight kind of becomes an issue if we were to
sure.
have a zone mix in there. These trays are already 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So,
That's what I was going to say. The grasshopper wouldn't be able to handle that.
yeah, if I had another 9 inches of root zone, that 2,000 pounds is going to quickly become 4 or 5,000.
Yeah,
So, leaving that weight as low as possible is also an issue for that. So,
So another question we had from the community, it actually came from a few different people, but they wanted to know how many years away are we from having real grass on the greens complex?
ooh.
Could you
never.
I mean,
Oh, man, what
realistically,
am
it
I
could
allowed
happen,
to
but
tell you?
oh, here we
Oh,
go.
the conversations are happening.
So I'll be candid just because there is no answer to that. And so I feel like I can be a little bit more open because there is no company stance on that as of right now. With how innovative we are as a company, on the technology side, trying to push some of that innovation into the turf side, I think it's obvious that everybody would love to have a natural grass green or just natural grass everything inside that venue. So we do have ongoing R&D trials that are going on right now, both on campus and off campus. Looking into, I think this summer, I hinted a little bit on my X page. I've been doing a lot of minimum right minimum light requirements for different grass types. Just kind of seeing which strategy, if we were to go natural grass, which strategy would be the best strategy for us to go? Is this something that we put in bent grass sod on the green and have grow lights drop down from the ceiling and I hand water? Or is this like a Raiders stadium kind of deal where the tray itself goes out on a train track? Do we have the money and time and construction to do like a Real Madrid thing goes underneath the ground and other trays come on top of it? So which direction would we want to go with that? Those are the answers that I don't have for you. I will say I did do a nice fun trial this summer in our off season. Wasn't very big, but it was about 750 square feet. I did bent grass indoors with a SGL grow light LED. And then we built a capillary flow system underneath it. So for, I think it was 87 days, I had a bent grass green cut to a green's height not an aggressive greens height. But the proof of concept was to prove that we could grow a green indoors and it survive. That was kind of the first trial run at this. So the thought process of, well, can I water from underneath, was because, we've got all the technology inside the green. I think that capillary system of watering from underneath and being able to change those moisture levels from below instead of sprinklers or hoses from the top was a lot safer for the technology and the jacks and all that different aspect. So we did do a lot of trials on that. Successful. I'd say it was pretty successful just because the grass didn't die. That was the only goal. Um, Now, as far as puttability, it was puttable. We did learn a lot of things about the root zone. That's going to have to be very meticulously curated if we were to go this capillary route. You got to have sand that can release water at a certain rate, but also absorb water vertically at a certain rate. And that sand that matches or checks both of those check boxes may not be the best sand for turfgrass growth or for firmness or for ball speed. And so trying to play with those different sand types to find, okay, which sand type is going to check all of our boxes for an indoor putting green full time is going to be our next challenge. And I think we're well on the way for that.
We are back with another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring PhD agronomist Tony Goldsby from the Andersons. Our question today comes in from Darren Fox. Is there anything that can help with growing grass under trees?
Well, thanks again, Adam, for having me on the show again this week. And thanks again for all the great end user submitted questions. And Darren, yeah, you're along with a lot of turf managers out there where, I love trees, but also too, they make growing good turf a little bit of an issue. And when I think grass under trees, it's not necessarily just one problem you're dealing with either, right? It's light, it's water, and it's a root competition problem, right? So, those are a lot of factors stacked against you. And I think the one that's probably the biggest is obviously light. If you don't have enough usable light, right, which is driving your photosynthesis in your turf grass, it's going to be pretty hard to find any product or any management technique that's going to fix that issue. So really, you got to start with trying to improve survivability right off the start by stacking small advantages in your favor. And really, a lot of that comes down to species selection, right? So I think at the end of the day, we all want tall fescue, for instance, to look like it does in our front yard at a home lawn, the same under trees. And reality is, right, there are fescues that are designed for handling that, whether it's chewings or creepings fescues, but they don't look and they don't exactly act and behave like our tall fescue that we love and that thick, dense, rhizotomous type grass or anything else that's out there on the market that's a cool season type grass. So really picking that right species if you can. Again, warm season makes it tougher because a lot of the warm season grasses obviously have a much higher light compensation point, and it's going to be pretty hard to find things to be able to overcome that from a species selection perspective. But wherever you can, thin the canopy too, right? Or get out there, trim those trees, increase that airflow, and that light throughout the day is also going to help. And then mowing higher wherever you can too, right? Because back to kind of the photosynthesis piece being really, at its lowest capabilities underneath a canopy, fighting for that light with tree leaves. You want all the photosynthetic turf grass area you can, right, to be able to try to intercept what it can and keep driving photosynthesis. So I think all those factors together can kind of help get you going. And then really, I think ultimately at the end of the day, whether it's you as, the person managing it or, your members or the people that are there, they got to have a little bit of a mindset shift in like what's good looking turf underneath trees, right? So that might not exactly look like what it does outside on the beautiful fairways and the other places that we manage on the course, right? But the grasses that are there have obviously been selected for the best usages that we can make them. And although they are different, I think they're pretty still in their own right or regard. And it always makes it fun because obviously being a pretty much a hack golfer, I get a good look at all those grasses that are in the places you're not supposed to be playing. So that's okay, and I'm glad to have them out there for us. But ultimately, try to do your best to stack the cards in your favor when you're selecting the turf you're putting underneath there.
Yeah, some great tips there. And I was just thinking the same thing. Like, how many times are you standing under a tree ready to hit a shot and there's actually nice turf under there? You know, it's usually pine straw or roots or something else. Like
You're
that.
hoping you're not on a route, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get a little relief here? So for sure.
Awesome. Well, this wraps up another Ask the Agronomist segment featuring Dr. Tony Goldsby from the Andersons.
Two-part question here for you, Tanner. All your time hanging around all these guys now in the facility, they're coming and going. We all know Tiger, JT, Kiz, they're all great trash talkers. Who is the best underrated trash talker? And then who is the grass geek of TGL that's constantly asking you about grass?
Oh, okay. I don't know if he's an underrated trash talker. I just feel like he hasn't shown his full potential in trash talking at TGL quite yet, and that's Xander Schauffele.
Mm,
Ooh, okay.
yeah. Yeah,
I
he's
think,
usually low key. You don't see him tournaments and stuff like that being as
yeah.
outgoing.
We got a little bit of a glimpse of him at the Skins game.
Yeah.
I don't want to say he carried that broadcast, but he was the most interesting, definitely very interesting with that hot mic with the Skins game. We've had multiple test matches too that Schauffele was part of, and some of his trash talk during those test matches. I'm like, dude, why aren't you saying this during the match?
Yeah.
And he's just so funny. And you're right. You see him at typical tournaments, and you don't really think that a lot. But yeah, Xander Schauffele, I think he can, if he wanted to just rip you to pieces, I think he knows just what to say to get under your skin, even if it's stupid and doesn't make sense. If it's getting under your skin, he knows it and he's going to say it.
I love that.
So yeah, the first part of that question, definitely Xander Schauffele. I think the more of these people call them YouTube style events, like the Skins game, I think the more comfortable he gets with talking to broadcast, we're going to see a lot more of that from him this year.
Nice.
The grass nerd, I'll say all of them are grass nerds. These golfers know every single aspect of their game from, their swing to the putt, but they know so much about grass. Some of it's maybe a little incorrect.
That was going to be a follow-up since you went there. It was like how much of his actual legit knowledge.
Yeah, some of them I'm like, I don't know who you heard.
We'll
that.
have members like that at our courses.
Yeah.
All right, carry on.
But they do know a lot, and they do know like, oh, if the ground is going to be harder tonight versus in practice, then my spin rate's going to be X% better. And so they're able to take the turf data that I've got and convert that into what they're using kind of throughout the match to build their expectations of how their ball is going to land. I'll say the number one person though that is more vocal about it is Patrick Cantley. I think he's vocal about a lot of things, and sometimes the grass is one of those things, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But definitely when he's in for practices, if I'm not mistaken, I think he has an engineering degree. I think someone told me that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So
Wouldn't
I think
surprise me.
It's
calculated.
just naturally calculating data and numbers. And there was a viral moment in the last match where, like, off his head, he was calculating like a percentage win rate of if we threw the hammer now versus later. So, like, I think his mind is just mathematically clicking all the time. And sometimes he'll come into the venue on a practice and start asking me questions or start asking my boss questions. I'm just like, does that matter to you? Why? Like, I can get you these answers. And I always try to, but whatever they do, the data they do. So if he's got that super smart, engineering, mechanical brain, good for him.
So with that interaction with these players and kind of hearing and kind of changing your mindset on the way you're setting up those, the squares of turf, if you put yourself into a superintendent's role again, are they providing you information from a player's perspective that would potentially change your approach if you ever went back to a regulation golf course?
What a question.
That's a fantastic question. As much as I want to say yes, I think it's a lot less. It's more of a no.
Yeah.
In a superintendent's role, even in like a sports field management role, um, the grass health and the playability is always, number one, along with, player safety on the sports side of things. I am a very different situation compared to you guys. I've got 3,000 square feet of natural grass. My coworkers laugh because I don't weed eat it. I use scissors to cut the edges of the trays right before a match. And they're like, why do you do that? I'm like, well, because I can. These are
Yeah.
these are 9 foot by 9 foot boxes. You
Don't
can't expect.
don't post that on X. You'll get blown up, dude. Anytime anyone sees scissors on X, they lose their minds.
I know, but I'm just like, you can't expect your average superintendent to go out to the driving range and use scissors to cut along the sidewalk. Like that's just not a feasible option. Versus me, I'm like, okay, it takes me about the same amount of time to do it with a weed eater versus the scissors. And I know for a fact I'm not going to get scalped edges with the scissors. So sometimes I'll just real quickly go around the edges with scissors and then take a pocket knife and edge it with a knife. And then it takes me 2 minutes to do a 9 by 9 foot tray. So on a match night, cool, 2 minutes, perfect edges. We look good. I didn't risk that weed eater getting out of hand and, you know, getting those little scalp marks that nobody likes. I use that as an example, but you know, these tee boxes are curated for this event. This year, I don't know if you pay attention to the tee boxes, the first three matches, I even did the mow pattern to where the center of the box, the grain was going towards the screen. You can't expect your superintendents at a typical traditional golf course to mow your fairways bold stripe to the green just because it's going to help your game. It may not even help your game, but some of these players are convinced it does. So some of the things I do, like I said, it's just so curated to the game and to really making these players look good on TV, that you just can't expect a ground staff to do that. In the same breath, there's a whole bunch of things that you guys probably do, more intricately than I do, just because you do have a staff and you do have space and time that I don't have. So I always joke about my bunker management. I spend 2.5 hours on a match day working my bunkers. None of that is blowing out debris. None of that is sifting out debris. That's just me watering, rolling, and raking. I would love to have more time to make sure these bunkers, since I have two of them, perfect, no debris, no artificial fibers flopping around in there. I just don't have that time. And I don't.
You send out a couple text messages, you'll have a bunch of superintendents and assistants from the area bringing out some plate compactors. But yeah, they'll be all over it, dude.
Yeah. So, I mean, are there things here that I've definitely learned that if I did transition back to a traditional superintendent role? Absolutely. Especially on the turf defense side of things, making sure that the turf rigidity is good and healthy for active play. But a lot of the operational things I do it's just very curated for TGL. You can't do it on a natural grass golf course.
Guess that makes sense. The one thing that I've really enjoyed about watching the TGL on the players' side of things is you really get to see, kind of them with their hair down. It's a little less pressure. They're chumming it up with the boys, so it's a little bit more fun. Like I was never, not that I hated the guy, but I was never a Billy Horschel fan at all. And now he's probably one of my favorite golfers. Like I'd love to go on a golf with that guy. Like he just looks like he has so much fun and such a beauty. One of the things that happened in the first season, was an amazing moment with Tiger when he got the wrong number from his partner and hit a really short shot. And I think it was really cool because his mom was there and she passed away shortly after. So just talk to us a little bit about all that and his impact obviously on everything going on there.
Yeah, I mean everything Tiger touches basically turns to gold. This league is no exception, and you've kind of seen or I don't know if you've seen, I've seen online people talking about TV ratings not being as high as last season, and match one versus match one last season, match two versus match two. They're making these comparisons. I'm like, well, Tiger hasn't even played yet. We're not sure if Tiger's even going to play, but this upcoming match, Jupiter Lynx is the team that's playing, and Tiger will be there in a coaching kind of sense. And so I definitely think that these TV ratings are going to skyrocket just because anytime people know that Tiger's showing up, then they tune in. Even if he's not playing golf, if he's just going to be standing there on the golf course giving advice to people, like we just announced Akshay Patea, he's filling in for Tiger this match. Just seeing Tiger talking to Akshay is going to be cool viral moments. And so I think, and Rory is kind of in the same boat. Rory is very involved, and he brings a whole bunch of eyes to the place. So I mean, yeah, keeping him in mind is always the back of my mind. But like I've said, he's a league owner, he's a team owner, he's a player, and now he's a coach. So he's so involved in this, and he's given it his all. So it's such an interesting thing that not very many people get to experience.
I'm surprised he didn't have Charlie fill in for him. That would have been some ratings
you
right
want
there.
Some ratings, yeah.
Yeah. I
Kidding.
mean, that move. I remember I was at Oakland Hills last year for the Junior Am, and Charlie made that event. Like all of a sudden, they had to add ropes, stakes, and ropes around the tees and greens, and add security and all that. I mean, it's a game changer.
Yeah. So this is all unofficial, and sorry, I'm also trying to plug in my computer to make sure it doesn't die.
You're good.
The online rumors when Tiger said that he was hurt was that Charlie could be a potential stand-in for him. And so I started going down these Reddit holes and all these different places of the internet that have all these weird conspiracy theorists. And people started going through like the TGL rule book to see if that was I'm like, I feel like I helped create that rule book and I have no idea.
Yeah.
And the rule book,
it's also Tiger's league, like
the rule book states that you can't be in bad standing with the PGA to be
okay.
That's the nice way of saying if you're a live golfer, you can't.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah,
exactly.
Charlie's not a PGA player, but
not bad standing.
He's not in bad standing, and so everybody's like, "Ooh, like that."
Dude, that would be cool to have a TGL Junior League, with Charlie and Miles Russell and all these freaking young guns that are. I mean, who knows? That could be next. That could be. I see that smirk on your face. It's probably been talked about already, hasn't it?
I don't have enough grass, guys.
I know. You're going to go from 3,000 to 10,000 real quick.
Yeah, I'm at the point of I would love to just do everything.
Yeah,
just bring me a sod farm down the street. Let me have a sod farm, and I'll bring it in every week. It's fine.
There you go. That's awesome. So, how much fun are you having, Tanner?
Dude, I'm having a blast. Like I said, it's so different from anything I've ever done. I joke with the superintendents down here in Florida. Is like, oh, my golf course, it's air conditioned. I don't have to actually maintain it. It's a digital world that I'm working in, but no, it is definitely a hard job that I'm relearning absolutely everything from scratch just to kind of work with these grass trays, and then the R&D to to your point, how cool would it be to have all grass indoors? I think it's definitely very close on the horizon, and I think a big aspect of that is the FIFA World Cup coming in. The amount of money and research that's going into that, both at Michigan and Tennessee, like we're making advancements in the turf industry 10 times the speed we were before, really just because of one soccer tournament. So that's pretty incredible that a tournament can come in like that and flip the whole turf grass industry.
Turf Today podcast is also brought to you by Apex 10. Great turf starts in the soil. Apex 10 by Green Nature boosts microbial activity to help unlock nutrients, strengthen roots, and improve overall health. It works with biology to build better soil and more consistent playing conditions. Simple, effective, and natural. Apex 10 helps your turf perform from the ground up. Follow them on Instagram for your opportunity to try Apex 10 today.
How many consulting gigs have you picked up with these players that ask you to come out and take care of the yards?
Yeah.
Or their courses, their putting greens at their house and stuff?
Not much, but I'm definitely
Okay.
I'm definitely getting the questions.
Yeah.
A couple of them have my phone number. Well, what do you think about this? Or some
Can
of
you
them
come out
have
and look
a
at this?
groundskeeper, and when their groundskeeper will suggest something, they text me like, "Hey, does this sound right for you?" Sure, why not?
So you've probably seen some of them. Who would you say has the best setup in their backyard or at home?
Well, I mean, obviously Tiger.
Yeah. He's got different greens and different grasses in his backyard, right?
It's incredible, and what's funny was when we did our sand selection. That was a blind selection for me. It ended up being that SP55 sand, and it's very difficult. It's expensive. They're like, "Oh yeah, Tiger's got it in his backyard," and I'm like, "Well, why is Tiger leaving the ball in the sand all the time?" And so it actually got to the point last season. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to talk to Tiger's groundskeeper. I'm going to talk with his manager and go look at this sand, look at this, the differences in the sand, because technically we have the same sand. So why is it so different here?" And I very quickly realized, I was like, "Oh, that's because Tiger's backyard sand is probably 12 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's got so much, native material that's decomposing in there. It's got fertilizer overthrow. It's got all this dirt, clay mix, rocks." I was like, "Well, it's not quite as pure as what we've got now." So I've got samples of his bunkers in his backyard in my office, sitting next to samples from TGL, and you're just looking at the different Ziploc bags. I'm like, it's not the same.
That
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it's claimed to be the same. No, even your sand matures and ages over time. So definitely an interesting thing to look out at.
What's the thing you're most excited about here with season 2? Or maybe even beyond?
Man, that's a hard question because I don't think I've slowed down enough to think about it. I think the growth of the company is something to keep an eye on. Our parent company, Tomorrow Sports, is what I like. That's my actual employer, is Tomorrow Sports. So if you start looking at, we just announced the Women's League. Big deal. That's going to start later this year. Some of the women golfers that we already have signed are big names. If you know anything about women's golf, and I don't, and I know these names. So it's going to be definitely an interesting thing. But I think our CEO put it very well, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. He's like, "Tomorrow Sports is called Tomorrow Sports for a reason. It's not called Tomorrow Golf." So Tomorrow Sports, as a overhead parent company, is looking at other sports ventures, other different ways that we could bring maybe a new era kind of thought process, maybe a technology outlook to different sports. Maybe it's just on the broadcast side of things. Maybe you take a sport that everybody knows and loves, but integrate more innovative technology to make the viewership at home a little bit better than what it is right now. So definitely the future of the company is very, very bright. And so being at this ground level and seeing TGL come off, adding the Women's League, it's just going to get better from here.
so many different opportunities. I know I could almost see you guys having a second building maybe on the West Coast, and that way you have home games and away games. And I have a buddy who's got one of those backyard garages set up, $10,000 simulator and everything. It's just stupid, but he's always looking for new things on the simulator and playing against different people and all these software and stuff. And he goes, "Why is there no option for me to play against the TGL guys and like on their courses and on their holes and everything and have a leaderboard and people can watch the match and play in their garage and everything?" And I was like, dude, that's probably coming. Like that's probably something they're working on because everybody's got a home simulator now, and that's simulator golf. So it's probably coming. So yeah, like I think you guys have a wide open highway of things that you can go down.
Yeah, and one of those things is it's all licensing deals. We've created all of our own holes in partnership with, Augie Pisa and these different golf course designers. And I think the coolest thing this year is the newer holes. Last year we kind of kept our holes a little bit more tame to, the hardcore golf fan doesn't want to see you hitting a golf ball off a space shuttle.
Mhm.
But I think since we got our core base group and it's a younger group, much younger group than a PGA event, we can kind of go a little bit more outlandish with some of these holes. And so we've announced and played the past couple of nights, Cenote, where you've got this green that's like 200 yards out, but it's got this big funnel behind it that you can drive into the funnel and work the ball down.
Yeah.
Then you got Stinger, which
Yeah,
The Stinger
was
hole is my
cool.
favorite.
Yeah,
That
really
one's my
cool.
favorite.
and my favorite thing about Stinger, all of these practice rounds, these pro guys are killing it.
Oh yeah.
They're hitting beautiful stingers. We rarely see anybody hit that rock. And in the first 3 matches, I think we've had 5 players hit the rock.
Yeah.
And so it just goes to show, they're practicing these things, they're figuring it out. Once you get into that arena and you actually have that arena atmosphere, not a golf course atmosphere, your heart rate rises. You start, jittering out a little bit. And then, the last time or last match, somebody hit a 1-iron. They brought a 1-iron specifically for that hole because he knew that he was going to be teeing off that hole.
Crazy.
Who was that? Was that Goddard? Yeah. He brought a 1-iron because he's like, oh, like in the rotation, I'm hitting the Stinger hole. So I got to not mess this up. He brought a 1-iron. It's like, I've never seen a 1-iron.
That's awesome.
Were you there, Tanner? I think it was the Barstool guys. It might have been Trent. Hit the ball over the screen.
Yeah. Oh,
It's awesome.
he had balls go over the screen even during the matches.
No way.
And that's fine. That the tracking works just like you would expect it to. We've got a big net up there that catches it. So hitting over the screen is no big deal. I think the coolest thing that I've seen, and it was on that Stinger hole, Cam Young, he hit the rock, and his second shot, he had to kind of pick and choose because there's that other curved out rock that's off to the right side. In this simulator game, you pick where you want to aim, and most guys just hit it straight because they've aimed where they want to hit it. Cam Young kind of took our advice, like, hey, you can aim it here. If you hit the right side of the screen, your ball's going to the right. And so he hit this, he aimed almost right at the rock and aimed his actual ball maybe 2 feet in from the edge of the screen. And I think that was the first time we saw a player aim somewhere different from where he aimed at in the game. And it was probably the coolest shot I've ever seen in TGL. Hit it far right, had the nice long curve off to the left, went around the rock over the grandstands and landed it just shy of the green. I'm like, that was a cool TGL shot that you're never going to see, on a traditional golf course. So
He messed up the divot pattern on the tray though, going a different
Yeah.
angle. So
a little bit angry, but
that's awesome. Well, dude, we appreciate your time and coming on here again. Leave the floor open to you if there's anything you want to talk about that we haven't addressed here so far.
not really. It's just kind of a thank you. Obviously to you guys for getting the story out about TGL and kind of my journey, but anybody that's listening, I feel like this past year, I feel like I've been very blessed with different people reaching out, different people asking questions, and kind of learning about what's going on down here. I feel like I get a lot of exposure on television and on social media from the teams and the league itself, and so I feel like that's something most groundskeepers don't get. And I think I said it last time I was on the podcast with you guys. Like, people think what I do is so cool, and like the only thing that's in my head is, you don't even know, because what I'm doing is just mowing and watering this grass. If you think what I'm doing is cool, you should look at your local superintendent and see what they're doing, because they're doing so much, in my head, so much cooler things with bigger equipment, better equipment. It's just, if you think what I'm doing is cool, you have no idea what's actually going on in your own backyard at your own home course. So guys like yourself, obviously getting that word out. I don't think your audience is much far out than superintendents and distributors, but maybe if we can get some of those stories out online, then a lot of more people start paying attention to their own superintendents a little bit more and realizing just how cool the industry is. And then I think it'll grow and skyrocket once people see just how much fun we have. So
100%. I know like you said, we have a very kind of niche audience, and it's sort of driven in this industry. And one of the things that Brian and I have always talked about is hopefully at some point the show could get to a point where we could have a PGA golfer on and talk about some of this stuff, and then we might get the viewership or people listening that might not have any idea about turf, and really kind of bring things into the mainstream.
yeah, and I think what's also cool is, when like the TGL posts grass content, it's always a good, I'm not going to say record breaker for our Instagram or our social medias, but it's up there. We had an all staff meeting late last year, and it was, they were poking fun at me and joking that the top two videos from season one was Tiger, and the second best video we've ever made was Tanner. And everybody was cracking up. They're like, grass content sells. Like, when people see how the grass is maintained and how, all that kind of stuff, like, people tune in, they like it, they watch it from start to finish. It's just, we need more of that out there. So if there's anything I can do to get more of that out there, as much as I don't like being in front of the camera, I'll do it.
Yeah, you're getting good at it, my friend.
Definitely.
Sometimes, it's just, like I said, some of these superintendents out there, they have such big character. It's just so cool to listen and watch them do what they're doing. Like I said, if you think I'm interesting, you don't even know. You're just scratching the surface at this point. So yeah, thank you guys for at least your role in that. And I may see if I can throw someone your way, maybe a retired golfer.
Hey, you never know.
I got to go check out the Golfer's Journal special. I just saw that come through my email, I think, the other day. I haven't had a chance to watch
That
the
was
whole
a good
thing
one.
yet, so that's next.
That was a good one.
That was a really awesome one, because I felt like I maybe talked to those guys for what felt like a minute. Like, I was like, oh, real quick, boom, boom, boom. And then they posted this video that's almost 5 minutes long, and it was just so good. So yeah, definitely go take a look at that one.
Yeah, cool. Well, this has been awesome, Tanner. Congrats on season 2 and continued success for you here, man.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, and sorry we're missing you down in Florida in a couple weeks. It's unfortunate. I really wish we could have either come up or figured out some way for you to be down there, but
yeah,
it's coming.
It's the closest I've been to the conference, and it's the 1 year that I'm not going to be going. So that's it's a little weird.
It's a tough time of year for you. You got something going on.
I'm going to try to sneak up maybe for one day on the trade show. So if I do,
okay,
let you know.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Awesome. Good to see you, Tanner. Talk soon.
Yeah, you too. See y'all later.
Everybody, take care.
See ya.
Introducing the Anderson's SR2000 Pro Rotary Spreader. Engineered for precision, built for durability, and designed to deliver consistent, professional-grade results on every pass. See it at the GCS AA Conference in Orlando. Stop by the Anderson's booth for your chance to win an SR2000 Pro Rotary Spreader.
What a beauty. Such a great
Yeah.
guy.
Oh yeah.
Such a great guy. And what a unique position too, because he'll sit there and say, yeah, people say it's such a cool job, but I don't actually get to be a full-time golf course superintendent. I don't know. Like, but you do have a cool job, bro. Like you get to
Yeah.
hang out with all these guys and like
Well, just like the conversations that he's privy to. I mean, that's why I wanted to ask him that question of, is there something you would do maybe differently if you were able to take it to a real course? And yeah, granted, obviously you're dealing with 9x9 squares versus a 140-acre piece of property, but still, I mean, just some of the things that those guys talk about from a playability standpoint, that's beautiful knowledge right there. That's beautiful knowledge. And, like he said too, going into the end of last season where he talked just about how he wants to change the fairway tray, and think about the moisture content and the mowing height and all those little things that make a difference. And I don't know, I just really cool, really, really cool. Get to listen to some cool conversations there, and they're putting on a really fun product. I didn't get to watch a ton of the end of last season. I watched a lot of the first couple matches last year, and then just got busy. And then this year, I feel like the matches have just been so much more exciting. Shot making has been incredible, like we talked about with the changes to the green and some of the grass around it. It's opened up more opportunities for guys to really make some great shots, and it's delivered so far.
yeah, it's the perfect product for the off season of golf.
Yeah,
I remember somebody saying, well, it can be boring and there's lots of, standing around and nothing happening. Well, have you ever watched golf? That's how golf is. Like it's a slow sport. You can kind of have it on in the background. You can wait till the guy gets up to hit his putt to really focus. Like you can bounce around a little bit. TGL is no different. Like they take a few breaks. They're walking around. They're talking to a guy, doing an interview. This guy's hitting a shot. Now we're going to the green. So it's very, very similar to golf, but I find the production value and the entertainment value is always up. Like I always enjoy watching it. It's Tuesday nights, so there's not usually anything else going on a Tuesday night.
No.
It's what's on.
Yeah. No, it's perfect. It's perfect for this time of year, and they found a nice little niche, and it's only going to get better. Right. This is only season number 2. So they're only going to continue to learn and push out a great product. So no question.
And they're in such a great spot with Tanner because he came in there. He cares so much. He wants to get better. He wants to learn. And every year that he does this, he gets better at that job and more of a professional at that specific job. Right. And if they are going to expand one day, or they're going to have other things going on where they need other indoor turf facilities and stuff, I think he's going to be right there at the forefront to help with a lot of that kind of stuff. So he might have some tough days and some long weeks and things like that, but he's really building something that's, going to help our entire industry in this future.
Yeah. Yep. No question. No, that was a great interview. It was great to catch up with him.
We got a couple cool ones coming to you guys next week, and the week after, and then we are heading to the show. So it's, can't really say too much else right now. We will, announce a few things closer to the show when we kind of get it all going, but everybody's sort of getting back to work in the last couple of weeks and putting their final plans and organization and everything into what's going to happen down in Orlando. But it should be a great time. And if you're close to the venue and you haven't signed up or anything, I still heard that there was a few classes available, and there's obviously the general admission to the trade show that you can still sign up for. So get in there.
Yeah, hope to see everyone in Orlando.
To everybody out there, keep those reels sharp, and we will see you next week.